All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's going on, everybody? All right. Happy Thursday. Jobs report number just came out, so I'm just going to hop in here and take a look at it very quickly. We will wait till about 8:35 to get started. So let everybody kind of roll in here. So getting a little bit of a pop here on this jobless claim number. It came in at 219 and actual was 203. All right, so we'll see how that kind of pans out as we kind of get the market going here. Valiant, good morning. Foolish snowboarder, my man, good morning, good morning, good morning. Daniel Gonzalez, good morning, let's get it. Val, what's going on, buddy? How you doing? Good morning. Edgar, good morning, good morning. Jeff, how you doing, man? Good morning. Sky, happy Small Friday. Sounds good. Small Friday indeed. All right, let me get these tweets out. And then we can get rolling here. Get rolling, rolling, rolling. All right. All right, all right, all right. Was kind of really hoping that we open up to the market still being close to that 380 level, but it is what it is. You know, you can only wish, hope, and dream sometimes. Kadar Pandey, good morning, good morning. Syra, what's going on? Good morning, good morning. Virgo, hey, good morning, let's do this. Yes, sir, yes, sir. All right, guys, it's 8:31. Usually we wait till around 8:35. You know the drill. We'll get this thing started shortly. Gonna wait for a few more people to kind of stumble in here. I know it's early. I know it's 8:30 in the morning. So, we'll see. Just got some news here. Shopify CEO bought $3 million in Coinbase in the last 60 days. So Coinbase definitely something I'll watch today. Interesting. Tony, good morning, guys. Let's get it. Market getting a nice little pop here on this jobs report number. Although the jobless claim is still slightly higher here. Oscar, good morning. What's going on, buddy? All right, all right. Everybody go ahead and smash that like button. You know the drill. Moises Quinech. Moises Quinechi? Nice name. Good morning. Robert Shelton. What's going on, buddy? Good morning. All right, we'll wait about 2 more minutes. Then we'll dive in right into the SPY and the Qs. Then we'll get to some of the free alerts. And then we'll talk about some of the stocks you guys want me to take a look at. And as always, remember, let me know if you want to day trade it, swing trade it, calls or puts. Simon, good morning from Toronto. Marjan, good morning, good morning. Salo Gasparetto. Gasparetto. Good morning. All right. Let's go ahead and smash that like button. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. All right. Let's see here. Waiting. We'll wait about a minute here. It's 8:34. 1 more minute and we'll get things popping off. Let's go. Need to bring that energy today. It's a Thursday. Wake up blessed to be awake. Nothing better than that, man. All right, all right, all right. Got about a few more seconds here. We'll dive right in at 8:35 Eastern time. Piton getting some volatility here in the pre-market. Kind of interesting. All right. There's 40 of you here. There's only 24 likes. What's the other half of you doing? Sleeping? Come on, let's go. Let's get those likes. Legit Movers Chicago, Lotto Thursday. All right, everybody, it's 8:35 a.m. Let's dive right in. People usually tune in a little bit later. That's just how the society works. So I'm not going to talk about everything that happened, around the 200 moving average, but what I'm going to talk about is this last pivot low that we had right here back on June 17th, right? That doji candle sent us really all the way back to the highs. And then when we came back to this level here, this candle caught a lot of people off guard. It's an inverted hammer, kind of looked like it was selling off, and then we popped back up, closed back above this vital 362 level. Great, that was a good sign, nice close, which means we could have tested these 371, 386 levels. We did that, broke above. 2 days in a row now, we're kind of holding above this level, right? We're holding above this 371, 386. What do we need to do, and why are we struggling up here? Well, first things first, you have a lot of price action volume here, right? Because of that, the midpoint of this is actually going to be your volume point of control. Okay, so this area right here is going to be the volume point of control based on the last price action in this little box right here. So you're seeing a little bit of that selling pressure. You're also seeing a lot of the moving average acting as resistance here. Okay, now there is a key area that we're paying attention to, and that's going to be that 380 level that is pretty much right above this candle, yesterday's high essentially, right? A little bit higher. And then we got moved to kind of push back over that 20 moving average into some next areas of 384, 389 being really the next big point of resistance, which was proven to be support multiple times, as well as resistance prior to this as well, right? So a few things to kind of pay attention to here. Coming into a vital area, this 379, 378 is a key area. We need to get above that. However, if we do reject, we have to maintain above this 371. If we're going to consolidate to make that next leg higher, we have to remain over 371, 370.8, or else we just chop back down. Then we'd have to hold this support level. For now, as long as we're above this 371.86, we could see further upside, so long as we kind of consolidate, flag, and then break out. So with that said, let's dive into the 15-minute time frame here and take a look at what's going on. So there's that 379, 380 level I'm talking about. Okay, so guys, it's really hard to start leaning bullish until you get above this level here, because very easily we can come up to it, hit it, reject it, roll back down, right? But I'm gonna put the default levels up here so we can see what we're looking at and what the game plan was this morning. If you guys are in the Discord, I write my SPY game plans and the Q's game plan, and the plan was this 373 has to hold, right? If we're gonna attempt to these highs, we have to hold 373. We hit 376, 379.50, and then that's where that big decision making needs to come in, and we got to establish, what's going to happen here. Are we going to push up right to here, consolidate, and then break out? Are we going to just hit here, wick back down, and continue going lower? So a few ways that we could watch to see what happens here. Ideally, I would really want to see this consolidate, break out. That would be the best case scenario for me. All right, we have a lot of good setups on the upside because of the way the market closed yesterday. So just coming into this, back into this area and breaking out will really put us in a good position to make some good long trades. Now, with that said, if we do roll back over and lose this 373 level, well, then we got a few things to pay attention to, right? We have obviously yesterday's low and these prior areas of support, which lines up at 372. But if we lose yesterday's low of around 370, 371, that key level I mentioned again on the daily, let's go back so I can show you guys again. That 371 level, if we lose that, we could very easily roll back over and head back down towards this 368.90 and ultimately the 365. Okay, so we really need to and want to stay above that 373 if we're going to continue making higher moves today. All right, so that's in regards to the SPY. Let's dive into the Qs here, see what the Qs has in store for us. Perfect. So the Qs, same thing. We came back to that 616, 617 low, held, pushed up pretty good. A little bit of overhead resistance and kind of just doing the exact same thing as the SPY here. However, we are slightly below a key level. The SPY was sitting right around 380 lined up with the 20 moving average. We are kind of a little bit higher than that right now. So we're going to take a look at the 15-minute time frame here. I'll throw my levels on so we can kind of establish. And the game plan again here was that 279.29 level needs to hold. Otherwise, we could look to roll over to 277.83. Ultimately, the 275, which was yesterday's low. Lose that, and you really open doors down to 273, 269. Okay. Now, the exact same plan as we had on the upside with the SPY is taking place right here on the Qs. We need to push into this 284, 285 level, break that, then we can aim for 287, 289. All right. So again, for those of you guys that are new, you're more than welcome to screenshot this, take a picture of this, copy these levels. They do work. They've worked for me for years. Here it is on the Qs. Obviously, when this video is done, you can play it back and take those levels as well if you need to. But that is the Qs level. I'm going to jump into the SPY so you guys can get your SPY levels as well for those of you that need. And then right now, we're going to dive into the free alerts. I'll explain those to you guys, why it's on the list, how to trade them. And again, before I do that, go ahead and smash that like button. There's about 60 of you and I believe 30 likes here. So let's go and get those likes in. All right. So let's go head on over to Twitter. The first trade I'm looking at is MU. All right. Now let's take a look at the daily here and why we're looking at MU. First things first, what do we have here? We have a bullish engulfing candle swallowing the prior day's somewhat of a doji up at resistance. So, you know, we could see continuation to the upside here. So that's kind of what I'm paying attention to. And the level that I want to break here is 55.20. Essentially, this is just a simple continuation play. I want that high to break. We know there's not much resistance on this thing on the daily. And if we break that 55.20, buying calls of 55, of course, we could see a nice push higher into this 57. All right. Again, we would need the market to continue pushing. It's got a very similar setup to the market as well, where it's kind of gapped down, pushing back up, trying to test yesterday's highs. So if that breaks and the market gets going, MU could very easily see that upside. Okay. Now, on the downside, what are we looking at? We need 53.60 to break. Why? That's your pre-market level. You had a sell-off and a straight move up, right? So what happens when we create these straight moves up? It's same thing when we're looking at the daily charts. And then when I talk about pockets, that's exactly what it is. We have a pocket from 53.60 all the way down to 52.16. So if we do roll over, you know, reject the highs here, come back, consolidate and break, that right there is going to be your entry. You're going to sell off and hopefully make that move down to the next leg. You might come across this support area of this 200 moving average, but you could consolidate, bounce, and then continue lower again. Okay, so two ways to kind of pay attention to this. 55.20 for the break to the upside, 53.60 to the break to the downside. Next one is coin. Just got a little bit of a pop here based on the news that the Shopify CEO bought, I believe, 10 million. What was it? 3 million of Coinbase shares. So game plan on coin here was long over 73.50. Why? We have the pre-market resistance yesterday. We have yesterday's high. We have yesterday's opening range high. That 73.50 is vital. Essentially what it could do, it could put us in a position to kind of hit this gap fill to the downside, this gap that we had from closing at 74.70, opening at around 72.30. We could try to fill this gap to 74.70, and then over that, you really open up on this chart up to 78. Okay, if we take a look at the daily here, there's really not much resistance, right? You have an inside bar. 73.50 will be the trigger of the inside day. It puts you above the 50-day moving average. Then your only resistance you have to fight is this 73.60 level, right? This high of this day. which is 74.60, 74.64. Break that, then you really don't have much resistance as you had a straight sell-off, right? So you could very easily come back into the 78s and the 81s. So that's kind of the game plan there in regards to Coinbase. Now, if we get under 71, right, which is this pivot right here from yesterday's price action, right? Why is that the pivot? Well, because we pushed up, pulled back. This is the first noticeable area that we saw another aggressive bounce from. So that's going to be your key pivot. Why isn't it here? Because it's not as drastic and it's not as clear as this move right here. So because of that, we could lose 71, come back down to the 69.30. So your trigger to the downside is going to be 71, trigger to the upside 73.50 on this one. Pins, I believe, had some news today, an upgrade. Let me take a look. Yes, it was Pins. Goldman Sachs comes out with a 31 price target from 24. So 31 price target, quite significant actually on this name. Now the reason why this is interesting, and I always tell you guys there, start from the daily chart, is because it's in an area where there's not much resistance anymore. Okay, so let's go back. We got to go back a little bit farther. All right, perfect. So this 25.93 is that last price action high from September 15th. That's our last area of resistance. Above that, what do we go into? We go into those pockets that I mentioned, right? Bam. We have a little bit of a pocket up to 27.80. So what are we looking at here on pins? We need to get above, excuse me, we need to get above 60. But most importantly, now that we're above it in the pre-market, we need to hold above 60. Because we no longer have that momentum trigger we can take. If we opened below 29.90, or sorry, 25.90 and 26, we could have took the momentum drive to break it out, push it up, and get into those upside moves. But because we're above it, we have to see if this level is going to hold for us to jump in and try to push this higher here. Okay. Ideally, I would have wanted this to open a little bit under 26 so we can take advantage of the breakout right out of the gates. So long over 26, if it comes back down and loses this pre-market support of 25.50, we could very easily try to fall back into this overnight gap fill to fill it back to 24.75. Okay, so let's jump back into coin for a second, and I want to explain to you guys how to kind of take these alerts. A lot of people still ask me, so we're going to spend a few minutes explaining that. I know every Thursday there's someone that's new and always has that question, so I just do it anyway. So if we open very close to the trigger and we inch close to it within the first 5-10 minutes, I'm taking that initial trigger right out of the gates, right? If we trigger within the first 5-10 minutes and price action is opening very close to my trigger, I'm in right there. I want that momentum. I want that volume coming in to push my premiums up, and I take advantage of that big chunk of the move and I'm out. Okay? I want that quick win, 20-30%. I'll take it and I'll be done with the trade. Now, if price is all the way up here and we open and we kind of sell off all the way here, regardless of what time it is, I'm not going to take this trade, because we've gone from 73.50 all the way down to 71, almost a 2.5 point drop. To buy puts here and expect this to go another 2 points is just naive, right? You have to understand that there's sellers, and then there'll be buyers and short covers, which is going to cause the bounce. And then when we come back down or consolidate or form a pattern, next leg down is when you want to get involved, right? You never want to chase that first initial move, especially if it comes from an area of a drastic sell-off, and now you're chasing lows and buying puts down here. You're going to buy your put right here. This is going to push back up into an old area of resistance. You're going to exit your trade right here. This is going to come back down and continue lower, right? So understand what you're doing. Understand where the stock was, where it is now, and what your objective is. You can't just buy puts blindly just because a trigger hit. Now, at the same time, if price action is still close to your trigger and more than an hour or two has passed and the market's kind of slowed down, you never want to take that breakout because volume is going to be low. You want to take that breakout when you see the volume come in, the retest comes back on lower volume, you take the retest, and then you continue higher right there. Okay? That's kind of how you should approach these. And always understand, again, where the stock was, where it is, what time of the day is it. Is he going to get that momentum breakout? Is there volume at this time of day? Or are you trading during lunch hour where, you know, it's very rare to see these massive breakouts happen? All right. So with that said, I'm going to I'm going to dive into the chat. If you guys have questions about any stocks you guys want me to take a look at, make sure you let me know the ticker name. Make sure you let me know if you want to day trade it, swing trade it, calls or puts. Don't just put ticker symbol question mark. All right. Tony Davila, let's make $1 million today. Hell yeah. Virgo, the viewers to the like ratio is too low. Hit that like, guys. Don Hoff, good morning. Edgar, can you confirm that rising wedge on SPY 15-minute 1 hour chart? 15-minute 1 hour chart? Not sure what rising wedge you're seeing. Not sure if you're talking about this, which at what point it looks like we've already broken out of it. If that's what you're talking about, then yeah. Looks like price action is under it, comes back. Again, that level is going to be that 379.50. That's the retest of this rising wedge. If it hits that level, rejects, then yes, definitely more sell-off. But this is interesting here. You do have 2 points. You do have 3 points to the upside, so this pattern is valid. But on the 15-minute, I'm not really seeing it. I guess if you're looking at it from the broad perspective, it's still there as well. But yeah, it's definitely there. Looking to day trade shop breakout of inside day. Any advice? Thank you. All right, let's take a look at shop. Shop inside day, perfect. So let's jot our inside day levels. That's the high. Oops. That's the high. That's the low. Gotta eliminate that. Perfect. Let's jump into the 15-minute time frame. There you go. You got some nice levels to kind of pay attention to, but you also have the prior day's level to focus on as well, right? On the downside, you want that 30.13 to break. Then you can take advantage of the sell-off, that inside day breakdown because of this aggressive push up. You have an intraday pocket you can take advantage of. On the upside, 31.30 will bring you into some resistance at 31.85, but above that, it could really open up here. So not a bad setup here. You have pretty good breakout points that you can take advantage of. This consolidation yesterday within that big opening drive that I had the other day puts it in a nice position to give you some cheap premiums as well. So 31.30 to the upside, 30.13 to the downside for the inside day trades there. What do you think about swinging FDX calls for gap fill play? I don't think FedEx is ready. It's very far off. You have to get up to 167.70. And then when you do that, you'll probably be close to the 20 moving average, which is going to act as a ceiling, as an overhead. So it's not, I don't think it's going to be ready anytime soon. We might come up to it. 20 moving average might cause some selling pressure, consolidate. But if we get back above the 20, close above the 20-day moving average on the daily, then you have that gap fill to the upside. This is not a move like, where was it? Was it UPS? Oh, Nike. This is not a move like Nike where, you know, I had that sell-off, immediately popped back into the gap fill and pushing up on decreasing volume. So essentially this could see that gap fill and then roll back over. The difference here is that, one, you have a moving average above you. Two, you have a lot of price action overhead above you. So it's not the exact same thing, and it's not going to be as easy of a move. You have to get a daily close above the 20 moving average, then you can reconsider that. NVIDIA calls day trade. Let's take a look at NVIDIA calls. So NVIDIA calls here, sitting right at that 20 moving average. really need to clear yesterday's high, and then you can kind of enter a pocket. Unless you do that, I would stay away because you still have that 20 moving average right above our heads here. Okay, so if you can get over that 133.20, 133.30, great. You could see a nice push into 135, 136, but you have to wait for that 133.20 to clear. Then you clear yesterday's high, you clear that 20 moving average on the daily, and you can get that push to the upside. Tesla swing trade calls for November. What do you see on this chart? Oh, I put Nino. What do you see on this chart that's telling you that you could swing this? The only thing I see, there, like I said, there's a nice little volume point of control box right here in the middle of this price action, which lines up with that candle right there. You do have a hammer candle. That's really the only thing you got going for you here, and a bounce off of the volume point of control. Taking November calls, it's a good expiry to take. If you're swinging, you could try it. You might have to give it a little bit of more room, but essentially, you know, this could very easily pop back up to try to fill this gap at 265 if market decides to rally in a few days. This hammer candle is a good sign, but ideally, if you can get above at least this 242.40 or above the high to trigger the hammer move to the upside for your entries, would probably be more ideal. Okay, I'm not against it, but there isn't enough things for me on the daily chart to be excited about a swing trade on Tesla. Tesla short below 237. 237 is your pre-market pivot low. I'm not a fan of this because you have this little resistant point support point from yesterday, right? If you take that move, you're gonna get a 0.6% sell-off before it starts bouncing again, and it could very easily reverse after that bounce. So that, because there's not enough meat there, I personally wouldn't take this trade. But if you're happy with 0.6% move on the underlying, you could very easily do that. But again, because of that support level right there, so close to my triggered puts side, I'm not a big fan. From here to here is a little bit better. You got a 1% move. Maybe that's something you want to pay attention to. But ideally, if that 233 breaks, then it really opens up. Microsoft call, day trade above 250. Let's take a look at Microsoft, 250.56. Let's take a look at the daily. Sorry, trying to sneeze here. It's not coming. All right, so Microsoft here, pretty decent candle. Both closed above the 20 moving average. You don't have much resistance until 254, so this isn't a bad setup. You had a little bit of resistance at this high here at around 250, which is a psychological whole number, which is understandable. Pushing up pretty nicely here. I do like 258 break. There's really no other way to trade this. You can't just get involved here and expect the 250.58 to break. The best situation here would be the break of that 250.58 for a push into the 254. So I'm not against that, Simon. How do you get these levels? I draw them. Support and resistance, there's lots of videos I have on those. It's just support and resistance on the dailies that I come together and I put them, and they come up with these levels here. SQ for day trade, long above 63.14. I actually think you might be able to take this one earlier. It's an inside day play. You could try to take this trigger here, 62.73. 62.73 could be the earlier take there, and it'll put you back in that bullish territory. So that's a little bit of anticipation though, and then you can get above that 63.14 level. You come right into that resistance of 63.78 as well, but the inside day trigger 62.73, I think you'll be okay with it for a nice little pop. Tesla call for the day. Tesla. All right, Tesla call for the day. I wouldn't really be interested in this until we get back above this 242.35 on Tesla. Then we can try the calls for the move to 246. Otherwise, nothing really there. Don't want to get involved here. Anything below this level, I don't want to get involved because we can very easily hit it and reject back down. So 242.30 is that level you want to take for that push into the upside. All right. So guys, it's 9 a.m. I got to get back into the room to get ready for the trading day. If you guys are still here, go ahead and smash that like button. And remember, every single Thursday, I do go live 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time right here on YouTube. I love you all, and we'll catch you next week right here to do this all over again. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time.